Okay, well, that's good to know. So let me pause this. I'm sorry, guys. I had a good show, but, you know, everything that could possibly go wrong has gone wrong this morning, and I'm just sitting here. I'm sure the haters love misery, right? Because they thrive off of misery. They're miserable people. So good. I hope everybody's out there that's happy. Oh my gosh. I'm sure Bart Toast has got a lot to say about my bad day, right? Because she's such a miserable fucking bitch on Rumble that nobody's paying attention to. Maybe you'll get a few more views coming up because I actually brought your real name up on my show. Okay. Anyways, guys, it's nice to see you all here. I'm having a frustrating morning. As you see, I've been up since like 3 o'clock because I was kind of taking it easy today. So we're going to have to build our stream as we're working on it today. I do apologize. Those that are in the vertical stream, you should see me in the vertical stream. I have breaking news. If you're not in the vertical stream and you are in the horizontal stream, you'll see Candace Owens behind me looking like a crazy lady because she's a crazy lady. Yeah, first, I'm going to start off with the vertical stream and just say hi to everybody there. Let me write in here that this is the vertical stream. If you guys look at the title, at the very end, it's going to say an H or a V, okay? The V is vertical. The H is horizontal. So I don't know if you want me to put a computer there, a phone there. I've seen Justin put a phone little emoji there because, you know, maybe people can see the phone a little better. And the only reason why I'm bringing this up is because you guys, most of you guys don't like being in the vertical stream. So, I want to make sure that if you guys are there, you want to be there, not because you think that's where the show is. We have 2 shows. For all the people that come here every day, we have 2 shows that that go on. One is vertical, one is horizontal. So if you're in the horizontal and you want to be there, then be there. Don't complain about not being able to chat in there. There's a 5-day waiting period, and there's advertisements every 12 minutes. So if that tells you anything, it's because it's not monitored, and that's the way we kind of keep the trolls out of there. You know, they'll be, if they're trying to troll me but not make me money, well, that's just going to do exactly the opposite because that is filled and littered with freaking advertisements. So every time somebody goes over there, you are actually helping the channel. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that. All right, the real me too. Tammy, it's nice to see you. Who else is over there? Melanie, it's nice to see you. Pat, good morning. Good morning. We're going to go ahead and get the intro rolling out, and then we'll come back here and say hi to everybody else a little bit as well. Melanie, Eeyore Blues is up in the house. The real me too. It's nice to see you. Jekyll and Hyde, Rose McCartney. So there is that. All right, for those folks that are going to be coming to our event in February, there is some housekeeping before we get into our intro. I don't know where you guys want to stay. I know you guys want to all keep together and stuff like that. That's not going to probably happen. Okay. We're probably going to be renting, me and my team are probably going to rent an Airbnb, to be there for the week. You guys just get a hotel. The Hendersonville and all that area around there, they're so close together. No matter where you're at, you'll be within 20 minutes of wherever we're at. So just get something that's affordable to you. If you guys have friends that are in the chat or whatever, and you guys would like to do maybe split the cost. I know there are some hotels there that are like $75. I mean, that's like $35 a night. You know, certainly you guys can, you know, split that and really make it a super, super affordable. Split some gas, split the driving, and split the hotel and other things. It can really be really affordable if you guys budget well. I know that we've done a lot of trips to Tennessee, to this area, on a very, very small budget, and we're able to get our job done. Now, we weren't in the classiest hotels in the world, but the good news is most of the hotels there, at least the ones I've stayed in, have all been clean. So you don't really have to worry about dirty or clean or whatever. But anyways, let's get going in the intro.
Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo. Set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flaws, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
I hate computer shit. I hate computer shit. And it's like, I just deleted some of these things off the computer to make it work better. And I come in here and everything is just, it made me sign into YouTube my OBS into YouTube twice this morning, and if you guys don't know, it's a lot to do because they require us to have two-party authentication on all our stuff. So I have to constantly be bouncing around from the phone to the computer, the phone to the computer, the phone to the computer, trying to get this thing to attach to the frickin' the stream. It was so stressful. For what? And then I'm looking into, I'm like, why is it not storing? And it's like, oh, you're clearing the caches. No, I'm not. So why is my caches? Oh, well, it's because it's maybe involuntary or blah, 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 whatever it said. I'm like, whatever. What? Just connect this shit, right? Just connect this shit at this point. It should be going live. I don't know why it's not. I mean, we are live, right? I mean, should be live. And we are live, which is weird because it's telling me to go live on the back end of OBS. I think it's because I kicked the live off. Oh, that's insanity. This is insanity. Okay, well, say my stream is excellent in both chats. So I'm gonna believe that. If you guys are in the vertical chat, I did run and get the chat to work. As you guys can see, I got the chat working. But I was doing that behind the scenes, and I went and grabbed the coffee. Right? I went and grabbed the coffee while I was playing the intro. I was running around the house. I'm hoping I didn't slip and bust my butt. That's how fast I was going. Delilah's laying in her bed. She's like, where are you going, Mom? I'm like, woo, woo, woo. And then I got back here just in time, because I'm a professional. Oh my God, this morning. Happy Saturday, you MFers. I'm telling you, you guys better be glad I love you. Well, not only just that I love you, but like glad that I love you and I'm willing to, do all this crap here for you. Let me get this up. Let me get this down. I like to have some shadows. I don't like it completely bright, I like it to have a good enhancements. I don't like it being overly powerful with the lights. I got lights on either side, and I got a very dim light right in my face. I got freaking huge what are they called? Like floodlights above me. I don't need floodlights in this office. I can see just fine. So anyways, guys, it's nice to see you. It's been a hectic morning for Bullhorn Betty, but that's okay. That's okay. We should have known something funky monkey was going to be going on, because we're talking about Susan Smith, right? Susan Smith, oh my gosh, this lady's a freaking crackpot. She unalived 2 of her boys at the same time. So, in the most brutal mechanism that you can. And the thought of what she did to her children are, it's bad. I don't know what else to say. Hold on, let me do my breaking news. Okay, let's get you guys on breaking news. I don't need to have Candace behind me. We're talking about Candace. I still think Candace Owens is a piece of shit. I'm not going to change that. And you know what? She is getting notoriety and stuff like that. And after hearing Erica Kirk, I truly believe after this with Candace, once she's found out to be nothing but a liar, which she is, she's hurt a lot of people that she used to call friend for money, because she had lost she was no longer, like, nobody was really paying attention to her. And then all of a sudden Charlie Kirk died, and she started going on the conspiracy theories, and now she's packing her channel with 200,000 people every time she runs a show. Okay, so this is nothing more than monetization for her, which you guys know, I don't care how people make money. But I think it's wrong to make money off of hurting people, right? The people we cover they've already hurt somebody. That's why we're here. And for somebody like that, a family, a woman, we're not going to get into it. I can go on for days and days and days. But anyways, good morning, Coffee Club. Good morning. It is nice to see you. Or maybe not. I'm really not happy to see you guys this morning. I got to be honest with you. Okay? I had a rough day. But before we get started, I'm going to get this stuff up because I wanted to show you guys what we did. What actually exhausted me so freaking horribly bad. That made me only throw some videos and do like a 4 or 5 minute video this morning, or excuse me, yesterday, actually it was last night, just to tell you guys I'm alive, I'm doing okay, you know, blah, 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 blah. Why am I here? This is not where I want to be. And I was just exhausted. It was an 11-hour, almost an 11-hour thing. They pulled the original video down, and I think they cropped out our lunch breaks and stuff like that and uploaded it as a video instead of a live stream. And I think they do that weekly as they take and cut that stuff out, like the lunches. And I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I like that. So I'm going to actually be, you know, thinking about that just real quick. But let me find Manatee County. I want to show you guys what we did. We had 5 items on the board. One wasn't, we didn't really care. One was we didn't really care. So it was really 4 items on the board. We got 2 of the 4 items. We got 2 of the 4 items blocked. But the other 2 came with a powerful name. Pat Neal is our developer. Okay. Pat Neal's our developer, and we don't like him too much. Let me get over here and... Oh, we don't even have that set up yet. Oh, this is great. Just great! Great. So, let's see. Okay, we got it set up. Okay. There we go. So it looks like we might have it set. I may have to adjust it just a little bit, but we'll see what it ends up being. But here's one of them. Let me know if you guys get any echoes or anything like that. Let me go over here to the chat so I can pull you guys back up. There you are. I'm watching chat.
Andrew Griffin, Manatee County activist and advocate. And one of my purposes here is because clearly it is the will of the people of this county that we are overdeveloping this county. People are frustrated.
There's something going on. Every time I go back to this, it goes blank. I don't know what the heck is going on with my... This is getting ridiculous. This is like truly getting ridiculous at this point. I don't know what the hell's going on. I'm going to have to do something. But I digress. I don't have time for this stuff this morning. We're going to push through the best we can on this show. I don't know what else to do. So hopefully it comes in good. Hopefully it doesn't. I don't know what's going on. We're clearly having some technical issues on my computer.
They're frustrated of the rubber stamping. I see it here. I see it on the roads. I travel all over this country, so I'm used to, traffic jams, but I'm not used to traffic jams in our sleepy bedroom county. It's dangerous on our roads. I think we're all feeling it. We're all feeling it every aspect of this county, from out east to north to south to west. It doesn't matter. We're all congested. Something has got to give. We need to start paying attention to concurrency. We have major concurrency issues in this county that have to be addressed before we add more buildings and more roads on in our county. So what is overdevelopment causing? It's causing infrastructure overload, fiscal imbalance, and a tax burden that's shifting, environmental degradation. There's just a whole host, including declining quality of life, loss of community character. That's what we've done to this community. We've lost Bradenton. What is Bradenton? Is it Tampa? Because Bradenton used to be Bradenton. And now I'm starting to feel like we are building in the vision of downtown Tampa. That's not the vision that I want for Manatee County. It's not the vision that the people that live here want for Manatee County. So something has got to give. So we've got to start curbing this. How do we start curbing this? We start curbing it by our rezoning. Nobody is entitled to rezoning. We have an FDAB, okay? Nobody's entitled to rezoning after the FDAB. These developers buy agricultural. They can build one house every 5 acres, not 12 every acre. We need to start reclaiming our rights here. Concurrency and rezoning is how we do it. And I hope everybody up here starts coming to the table and quit rubber stamping this stuff. Our citizens here are angry, okay? This doesn't affect me, but you see me here. This is affecting our residents, and we've got to do something about it. Thank you for your time.
Hold on, let me get back over here. Sorry, guys. I don't know what's really going on with our system, but once I bring this thing back over here, it looks like it's going to drop off. Okay, so far it's holding. I don't know what happened before, and now, like, even my green screen, there it is. It was missing from when I moved it over. I couldn't see it. I had to finally take it off because I didn't know what the heck was going on. I put... Oh, it's going to be one of these days. Move anything. There we go. I'm just having some complications today. That was one. Now we're going to fast forward. This is going to be, we're going to fast forward about 8.5 hours. Okay? Because yes, we were here even all this time later. These were all the people that are entitled, their entitlements. And so we were all just, not one person came before. This is where you start having problems, is because not one person came before this board. And this is stuff that happens in the county. I'm showing you guys this because I want you guys to be more involved in your communities. I want you to see what it's like to be at planning board meetings. I want you to see what it's like at BOCC meetings. I don't live in the city, so I really don't go to city council meetings, but I know Glenn Gibellina does, and he does because he's a builder in both of those areas. So, he wants to make sure that people have the right stuff that they can build. He teaches at schools and stuff for this stuff, He always tries to do things with minds. We were never really allowed to have, tiny home communities here. He was the pusher of tiny home communities. He was the pusher of accessory dwelling units, because a lot of families were starting to have to become sandwich families where mom and dad are taking care of their kids and their parents. And so, he realized those needs, and he started advocating for those in the counties so people could start building those necessary attachments to their home or structures to their home to have more of a comfortable environment for their growing family. And different dynamics of family as well. So, a lot of that can be attributed to him. He loves building. He just wants smart building, and we're overcrowded, like many of you guys, I'm sure, have been overcrowded. But this is where all the people that you see behind here are coming to complain about the board meetings, the building that's going on in their community. And then the builder, the developer, Pat Neal, comes to the thing. The Moran family, which is as you can see, the Moran family's down here, Family LLC and stuff like that. Well, they've also been homesteaders to this area, just much like my family has. The problem is they feel that they're entitled because their families were settlers here, that they're entitled to rezoning. I'm a generational here. I don't go and sit there and take that as an entitlement. Like the county owes me. My family helped build this. I use that to help push stuff along, but I've never used it for self-serving purposes. And here they are coming for self-serving purposes. And not only are they coming for self-serving purposes, the Moran family are basically, we've been government employees our entire life. So you've been sucking the tit of the government the entire time and the taxpayers the entire time. But hey, you haven't taken enough from us that lofty pensions that all of you guys have. That's not enough from the Manatee County citizens. Oh, no. We want to tear down every beautiful thing that we can for profit, right? Because that's what ends up happening. These farmers don't like their families going into farming, so they send all their children to become doctors and lawyers and stuff like that. Well, when their parents aged out, they've got these huge farmlands. And those kids are not going to farm that land. Those kids, they're not going to farm the land. They're making lofty salaries being, government employees, high paid government employees and prosecutors for our government and stuff like that. So, they just want the money, and they want the most money. And listen to this. This is how sad it is. These people are settlers here, but they want the money so bad that they don't care that they're ready to pull out majestic canopy trees to get their money. Greedy children. Greedy children. They're entitled to their inheritance. You're entitled to your inheritance at the proper zoning that it's at. That's your inheritance, okay? Whereas us as a county are not going to force another 1,000 cars on the roadway in the area so you can make 3 times that amount, okay? Enjoy what you got for free from the back and the sweat and back of your parents. Good gracious, good gracious. I'm not going to play their stuff, but I will play my last one because we started hitting on, because we knew what we were up against. So we started hitting on the law. You know, that's really where we're hoping that we can get them to stop. But this is just a planning board. This is free. You know, these people up here are just citizens. Some of them are bought and paid for by developers, placed on these boards by developers. They're not. They're nothing. They're really insignificant in my opinion. They're a process. They're a
Helena
process.
Begley, then Andrea Griffin's up next.
Oh wait.
Helena had car trouble, so won't be there.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Andrea Griffin?
Andrea Griffin, thank you. We'll let everybody call me Andrea. That's why I'm Betty. Nobody can screw up Betty.
Then after that, that's the last one we have signed up, so you can just start heading up.
Hallelujah. Andrea Griffin, Manatee County activist, advocate.
Yeah, they cut out the lunch because this is at 7 hours and 17 minutes at the bottom, and I'm like, no. We were there. By the time I left, it was almost 9 hours. 9 hours. Holy smokes.
I think you guys know where I'm going to be going with this. But I'm going to reiterate what Glenn Gibellina said. What is the requirements of this county? Are you guys required to approve, just automatically approve rezoning? Of course not. You're not. It's discretionary. And it's discretionary for reasons, okay? Because clearly our planning board doesn't see issues that the rest of the residents are seeing, and thereby stating that these things are approved or should be approved or whatever the case may be. And it's so far off base, it's not even funny. So according to Florida Statute 163, the comprehensive plan is what controls all land use in this county. And of course, the development orders, including rezoning, must be consistent with that comp plan. Obviously, this being an area where there's agricultural, 1 house per every 5 acres.
The neighbors were showing horses traveling down the roads that they're wanting to stick another 1,000 cars on the roads. Horses! They're I mean, everything but covered buggy are going down these roads, and they want to stick this huge development on these tiny on these tiny lots in the middle of freaking Esquarian, whatever, area. Esquine, or whatever they call it.
A total of 289 properties in this area is congested. You're talking about 2 people in every house in a retirement home. That means 2 cars. That's 578 cars. Now you add 1 teenage child that's now on the road. Now you got 3 additional cars on the road. And if normal families, which usually have 2 children, now you got a household with 4 cars in this area. So now you have 1,156 cars on the roadway. So clearly the models, as we know, are hypothetical, right? So I don't really listen to the models. I listen to common sense. And common sense tells me when you have a road so big and there's oaks on both sides of it and huge ditches, common sense tells me that that road's not widening anytime soon. That's what common sense tells me. So knowing that that road is not going to be widening, putting an additional potentially 1,156 cars on the road in that area with such a small road, common sense tells me is not proper and should be denied. Now, rezoning is a legislative decision, right? And comes with very broad, never obligated to rezone. I know Mr. Neal was talking about this is affordable housing. I'm sorry, I'm a conservative. I don't think $300,000 home in today's society, it is affordable, but it's not affordable in reality.
Amen.
At the end of the day, we've got 21 trips on this road that's going to be extended based upon this hypothetical model to 130 trips, which we know are really 260 trips because it's probably based only on 1 or 2 cars when most houses probably have 2.5 cars. So with those things, I'm going to say that this is an inappropriate project. It's not consistent with its environment. Its environment are larger homesteads. These are much smaller homesteads. This is packing a whole lot of people. I don't consider this an infill out east. I consider infill more in town, more without the urban sprawl. But again, I do believe this is an urban area. You know, at the end of the day, we've got horses driving down the road. Are we really going to put 1,100 cars
Not
with
urban
people
area.
on horses riding down the road?
I said the wrong word.
Okay, well, I'm going to trust that you guys are making the right decision. I also want to thank you guys because I've come to planning boards over the years, and nobody has quite listened
Rule.
like you
That's
guys
what I meant
have.
to say.
This is
Rule.
probably one of the first board meetings that I just truly appreciated. I think everybody needs to hear that. Thank you.
And they did. They took our, I mean, they listened. I didn't have to sleep. You guys didn't see me one time slam my hand down on the table or have to get anybody's attention or pop off at the mouth. Guys, I'm telling you, I will pop. They already know I will slap pop off the mouth. I will make a scene in the middle of the dais, okay? They know that. They know that. But it wasn't just me that they were paying attention to. They were paying attention to everybody. They took their, it seemed to me, I have a lot to say about the planning board. And even like there's one guy on there that me and him butted heads years ago. I mean, just butted. I think he's still blocked, okay? And I got to go up and talk to him every time. Like we butted heads, like we were boom, boom, boom. We weren't nice to each other. We were nasty too. If I recall correctly, I think there might have been some cuss words flying. And so now I got to go up there and I got to look at his precious little face and say, hey, right? So it's a love-hate relationship. It's all good in good faith for our community. And sometimes those things are very passionate like they get here with our true crime stuff. But that's what exhausted me, okay? I was in that meeting right there for almost 9 hours, okay? And then I came home and listened to another 2 hours of the meeting because I had to come home and get Delilah. Delilah had to come out. I can't just leave Delilah. I left her. Wasn't expecting it, but I knew if I didn't come home, I knew that Glenn would pay attention to that and take care of Delilah, and he did. I didn't have to tell him. He knew. So he said he came over and checked on her, and she just started howling at him. So she was good. She didn't really do a whole lot. She just stayed in the chair, staring straight at the door the whole time I was gone. Poor thing. And she did yell at me when I came home. Usually, if I'm gone for a while, nowadays you don't know what you're going to get, right? You don't. Usually, it's like all she wants to do is just jump on you, lick you, and everything else. And then there's another part, where she chews you out. Like she just chews you out. You can do whatever you need to, Skylar. I'm paying attention to the chat. Not all the time am I paying attention to the chat. But you can always throw questions in the chat, and if I can't get to you, somebody else will. I had a double deluxe burger an hour ago. Got another in the fridge, and I'm going for 2 more at 11. Wow. Good gracious. Not me. I've been eating at home, except I did have, I was hungry. I made some food yesterday and a big potato. I'm surprised with that a huge freaking potato. I'm surprised with the huge big potato that I had yesterday that I was even hungry. But last night I started getting a little hungry. Would I ever run for No, I will never run for political office. And there's reasons why I will, because everybody thinks if you become a politician, you affect change. I wholeheartedly disagree. It's a pain in the ass. Do you get paid for it? Do you get a pension for being part of the government and stuff like that? Yes, you do. But your whole entire, it's like getting your life ripped out like we've had all over here, which I don't really feel like going through. People know my history and everything like that. But at the end of the day, this is the one reason why I will never, ever, ever run for office. And it's because I like to speak. I like to speak the truth. I like to speak whatever comes out of my mouth. I like to have my First Amendment. And whenever you go into political office, you have to worry about PC. You have to worry about other things. I will never subject myself to that. Okay. I will never subject myself. I hold people accountable. That is my role. That's what I'm good at. I'm good at applying pressure. I am an alpha female without a hesitation, an alpha female, and that's the problem I have with nice people in office. I don't like nice people in office. I need people with thick skin in office because they're going to have to deal with people like me. And at the end of the day, I will chew you up for lunch and go home and sleep just fine. You know what I'm saying? Politically, I will chew you up for lunch and go home. And I at the end of the day, when I have a job to do and it's a political thing, I don't care how uncomfortable you are. I don't care if it hurts your feelings. I don't care if I've got to smear your name. I don't care. I don't have time to care. I don't have the ability to care. So that's the problem. That's why I will never run for office. Nobody ever has to worry about me ever running for office, but I do hold my people accountable, and I also help find people to put in office, right? I try to go out and look for some of the best people that we can. Some of the people will. I've already went up and spoke to a few people about running for District 2. We need to find, because District 2 is our biggest split district. That means we have a very healthy, huge amount of Democrat voters in this district. So it's almost not quite, but almost a 50-50 split between Democrats and Republicans. So because of that, because I'm hyper aware of my community and my district, I work a lot with across the aisle people. I work with Democrat activists. And we work with Democrat activists because we kind of have to share the same, commissioner. And we need a commissioner that kind of shares our, which is very hard because, as you guys know, the Democrat, narrative and the Republican narratives are in polar opposite. The only thing that we really can really work together on is really just the taxes and the spending, right? And the people that are making the decisions. Those are really all the things that we will agree with. No matter what, our Democrat Party and our NAACP here is pretty much the same, even though we have a good working relationship. They basically think all the white people are racist. So we deal with all of that here, and there's nothing we can do. There's, it just is what they think. It's how you live, whatever. So we just do whatever we can, we're, they don't like a lot of the stuff, because like even the Charlie Kirk, that was a big divide here. We named a road after Charlie Kirk, and I would have been for it, but I was sitting next to Betty, which is one of our Democrat activists that comes to our meetings frequently. She was sitting next to me, so I started talking to her about Amanda Ballard, and I'm wanting Amanda Ballard gone. She's wanting Amanda Ballard gone. So it's like kind of like, let's make a deal. What are you guys looking for? Trust me, it's just like that. I don't like being a politician. I like doing what I do better. I see the fruits of my labor. And not only that, but I don't have to be in the public spotlight. I don't have to be under public scrutiny. I do a lot of the stuff that I do politically, and, if somebody asked me, I'd tell them, but the majority of the time, most of these people don't even know it's me, right? It's advertisements, it's political advertisements, it's articles, it's on different platforms. They're sent out to different people post them in different areas. This just kind of like the little, the proverbial, stick in the gouge. I do it well. I do politics better than I do true crime, and I do true crime pretty good. I'm just saying, not to toot my own horn. But what did I tell you about Melody Buzzard? If you guys raise your hand, no matter what, nobody was on board with my assessment of Melody Buzzard. But now that we come full circle, I called it. I stood on that hill alone. But by God, we were more right than anybody else. We reported better on the Buzzard case than 90% of mainstream media, because we didn't want to deceive our audience. Okay, we're not here for deception. We're here for the truth. And the truth is that was a glorified custody issue, right? I hope Melody's in school. That's my only biggest concern. You know, there's going to be a time and a place when this does become criminal, because you just can't keep kids out of school. But with her being at a friend's in Utah, you know, I truly believe that Utah, if I'm not mistaken, Utah also has some pretty sanctuary policies. So they can pretty much get her in school in Utah without paperwork. You see what I'm saying? So, I think, you know, I think everything's kosher with that. I never believed that lady hurt her child. I'm sorry. We see such terrible parents. I'm not saying she's the best parent in the world, and I'm not saying she's raising the child the way I would raise it, or the most wholesome way to raise the child. But it doesn't matter about that. The question is she abusing the child? The answer is no. Has she abandoned the child? The answer is no. Has she done something criminal? And the answer is no. So, you know, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter how I feel. It matters what the law prescribes. And there is no real reason for law enforcement to be involved in this lady's case as soon as they found that child with her, which they did. And so that was my problem. You know, is she with her daughter? We're not going to know. You know why? Because what they did was terrible. And this woman has a right to sue them. They threw her in jail. Okay? She has civil rights violations against this county. She's got some major action against this county. And I hope she takes the bite at it and goes and gets that, you know, because what they did to her and her reputation is wrong. Do I think she could do a little better? Of course. I don't, you guys know how I feel. I totally oppose any child not being in school. I tell our audience, no matter how old you are, never stop learning. Okay. So having a child, a 9-year-old child, an impressionable 9-year-old child not getting the type of, I hope she is suing, I do too, but not getting that child the type of education they need can set them back for years. So I hope that that's not the case. But being in Utah, I'm a little more comfortable because that's where the assassination of Charlie Kirk was. So we know what the governor's propensities are. We know that he's favorable to these sanctuary policies, even though he's basically a Republican in name only. He's what we call a rhino. And there's been a lot of people that have stood up and spoke out about the governor of Utah and his policies. So I know, and I didn't know all of this, but I do now because Charlie Kirk was assassinated in that state. So I learned a lot about the politics and the makeup and the who's who of that state because, you know, when we were covering that case, I dug deep. You know, this was somebody I knew. I had just seen him just a few months before at an event in Tampa. So you can imagine how much this bothered me. This was somebody that I knew. I wouldn't say that we were friends, but I definitely seen him out many events. I definitely supported his organization, and anytime his organization had anything to do in this state, I was a part of it where I could be. And then to see all this stuff going on with such a great organization, and it's like, you know, Candace is intentionally and willfully trying to destroy an organization. She's saying horrible things like Erica should never have been made immediately CEO. Who the hell is she to say that? I'm just curious. Who the hell is she to say that? All right, let's get on. So this case is really about, you know, Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers did disappear from his home. This is not gossip that we're going to be going over. This is basically analysis. Today we're going to be going back and talking about the disappearance of 15-year-old Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. When he disappeared, he has since turned 17, but when he disappeared, he vanished on February 26, 2024, and as of today, he has not been found. What we're not going to do this morning is declaring guilt. What we are going to be doing is examining behaviors, patterns, and public conduct, because behavior is often the first place truth leaks out. And we've known this. This is what the deception detective refers to as leakage. It's what some of you guys refer to as a Freudian slip. But either way, the truth does leak out in conversation, and it's why we always want people talking. If you follow true crime long enough, you know that history repeats itself, sometimes not in facts, but in patterns. And in one case that keeps coming up in conversation surrounding Sebastian is the Susan Smith case. A mother who stood before cameras, appealed to the public, showed an unusual emotional effect, and was later convicted of murdering her children. Now, let's be very, very clear. Susan Smith is a convicted murderer, and of course, Katie Proudfoot has not been convicted of any crime that we know of. But when families go missing, especially children, behavior matters. Media engagement, it matters. Emotional congruence matters. Narrative consistencies matter, right? And when those things don't jive, we see red flags. This morning, we're going to compare observable public behavior, media presentation, emotional effect, language patterns. We've been talking about language patterns. I mean, we would just watch Courtney Bartholomew, and we bounced back and forth between Courtney and Katie. And it was like, in our music classes where our teacher's like, right? So we hear these language patterns. We have timeline clarity. We're also going to apply Occam's razor, the principle that the simplest explanation is often the correct one, while also acknowledging what doesn't fit. What doesn't fit. We'll lay out the similarities, identify the stark differences, discuss psychological parallels, and explain why these comparisons resonate with the public. And always, and as always, Coffee Club, we're going to stay grounded in facts, documented behavior, and logic. And of course, not emotion, which we always talk about on this channel, or mob mentality, which we see, displayed a lot on these platforms. So let's grab some coffee and sit in. So what we're going to be going over is that Sebastian disappeared at 15 on February 26, 2024. And of course, in my opinion, the suspects of this crime predominantly is Katie Proudfoot. I believe Christopher Proudfoot has helped his wife cover up a crime. And of course, I believe the biological father, Seth Rogers, has been cleared conclusively by videotapes at his own job where he worked during the time of disappearance and was observed regularly because he works at a jail and therefore was on camera more than he was not on camera. Public focus shifted due to family-centric distant dynamic. In segment 2, we're going to be kind of going over why Susan Smith comes up. She held press conferences, presented a calm control effect, smiled, laughed intermittently, kind of what we've been seeing. And actually, it's not even really intermittently with Katie. It's all the time. Every time Katie has an interview, she seems very, very chatty and, happy to talk about herself or, anything other than the truth. Claimed an external abductor. Now, we know that was the immediate assessment or explanation from Susan Smith. However, Katie Proudfoot kept with the narrative that he wandered off, because remember, they thought about this. And the reason why they didn't want to go with the abduction is I think they thought it would be more resources for an abduction and a criminal investigation, which they were trying to avoid. And I think Chris and Katie, being in the military, knew that. They were very aware of that. They've got family that's in law enforcement. They are very astute and tuned in to law enforcement procedures and protocols, much like we are, okay? So you got to keep that in the back of your mind when you're dealing with these folks, when you're dealing with Chris and Katie Proudfoot. But it wasn't until later, and it was on the Nancy Grace show, that Katie made the claim that she believes there was an external abductor, that somebody has her kid. Later evidence contradicts both of their narratives, but only one has been presented to court, and it was Susan Smith. Now, there are behavioral parallels to both of their behaviors, in my opinion. And I think, and you guys are probably going to have to work with me on this one, because I think you guys are going to agree. So let me read these, and then we'll put it to the test and see if we're missing anything. So I think the behavioral parallels, actually, let's back up real quick. Let's with a show of hands. Oh, sorry guys, I didn't take this off for you guys. Sorry. You guys are still seeing my county meeting. Sorry about that. If you're on there you go. By a show of ones and twos, let's start out with this. Let's start out with ones and twos, then we'll go to threes and fours, then we'll go to A's, B's, and C's and D's, okay? You guys get it? And then we'll bounce back and forth. Okay. So by a show of ones and twos, who in my chat? We have 80 people in our horizontal chat, and we have 28 people in our vertical chat. So we have about 108 people in chat in total this early morning. It's quite early. We started a lot earlier than I expected on Saturday morning. How many of you guys have heard of the Susan Smith case? One, you've heard of her case. Two, you don't know anything about Susan Smith. Or you know very little about Susan Smith. One or two. Okay. So we got a lot of, so far we're hitting it where everybody seems to know the Susan Smith. I shouldn't assume. I was about to. Okay, so Yvonne has never heard of the Susan Smith case. Melanie has never heard of the Susan Smith case. Okay. I'm going to give you guys the Reader's Digest version, since the majority of you guys do know of the case. Okay. And we might go back and watch some. See, I do have some stuff pulled up. Okay, so we may go back and watch some stuff. So basically what happened is in the 90s, this is just going off of raw memory. We did cover Susan. Oh, shoot. We did cover. Guys, holy smokes. We covered Susan Smith. I might have some videos. Oh my gosh, I forgot. I was in South Carolina. I covered Susan Smith. Give it a second. I just put one of the hard drives. I think it's on this hard drive, because it was one that I would have done back in 2022. So I would have still been with my my Samsung. So it should be on this one here. Oh my gosh, guys. I forgot I did Susan Smith. Holy smokes. Okay, so let's see what I got here. Let me see if I got some Susan Smith. Wouldn't that be badass? Wouldn't that be badass? Okay. It's not on this phone. Damn. Oh, that sucks. Let me just go out and make sure I didn't have it on a separate folder by itself. Hold on. Because there's Gabby Petita's. Maybe I do have it. Hold on. Damn it. I'm going to have to find it. Oh, we got a lot of Gabby Petita stuff in here. Hold on. This is January. I found it, guys. Holy shit. I've got the videos. Oh my gosh, guys. I've got the videos of the lake. I don't know. This is all raw footage, guys, so it's not edited. My mom was with me, so let's give Mama Bullhorn a round of applause. She held the camera for most of this. It was pretty windy out there. This is JPEG. Where's my MP4? I think we were trying to get open with. Gosh, I wish we could. Real-time player. Let's see if we can get it up. Hold on. Let's see what we got here. As I'm going to get a little shaky, guys. Oh, my. Guys, we've got Where the Boys Lost Their Life. Okay. So for the folks that, Let me show this. Yep, this is a video. Okay, let me put this up on here. I don't know how we managed to do this. I almost forgot we were out there, folks. You guys are lucky. That's what I'm going to tell you. You guys are lucky, lucky, lucky. So let's add a media source. Actually, maybe a browser. Hold on, let me figure out what this is. We want screen capture. That's what we want. We want a screen capture. 2. And then we want, where's my screen capture? There it is. Okay, window capture. And we are going to go with the QuickTime Player. Do I have to do it over here too? Okay, hold on. I got to do it over on the vertical stream as well. Give me a second, guys. Every time I need my freaking mouses to work, they're just not working because they all need to be running off their own battery. All right, so here's the lake. You guys see the lake? Okay. So the lake is where the boys. So Susan Smith is a mom of 2 young boys. Okay. One was still, I think they may have both been in a car seat for all I know. But oh well, we got another one over here too. Sorry, guys. It's not easy without an attached mouse, and my mouses are not attached. They use Bluetooth to connect, and that's not the best. All right. So what you guys are looking at is a lake. So Susan Smith is accused of driving her boys into the lake. Okay, she pushed her car into this lake with her 2 sons in it. She was having an affair on her husband. She did not want to raise the guy she was seeing, which had a lot more money, did not like children. She wanted to leave her husband and go be with this man. And because she had the children, she needed to get rid of them in order to divorce her husband and be with this man that she really wanted. He didn't want children. So she drove her children into this, but it wasn't that. She screamed that she was robbed by a black man, that a black man threw her on the ground and took off in her car with her boys. She was basically blaming this phantom guy that did not exist, even did a sketch of a man. And I believe they may even have arrested a man. If I'm not, female Chris Watts, blacklisted said. So let's play this so you guys can, I don't know what's on. Guys, this was done years ago. 3 years ago, 4 years ago, something like that. I have no earthly idea what we're going to hear, okay? I may do 3 different takes of this. I have no earthly idea. So bear with me, folks. It is what it is. I don't know what it is, but we're about to watch it. Hopefully it plays without jerking all over because it's running straight from the box. Look at that blonde hair. And you can see the...
Yes, you're right in the middle of the shot of the lake.
Okay. Michael Daniel Smith, Alexander Tyler Smith. That's me getting ready, trying to remember all the names.
So in October 1994, Susan Lee Smith, she was born Susan Lee, oh, I screwed that up, we'll cut that. Don't worry about stopping it.
Okay.
Don't worry about stopping it. So here is John D. Lake in Union County, South Carolina. This is where Susan Lee Smith drowned her children, Michael and Alexander Smith. Okay.
if you guys notice that our cut product looks so much more nicer than this, it's because we cut it to make it look really nice. We just take our clips, so you guys get to see a little more behind the scenes. Susan, oh, good gracious. Karen, I was about to call you Susan, so you can smack me later. Karen has seen, so is Sonia. They see what goes on behind the closed doors. But this was a case that I couldn't remember the details, and you have to be very factual, so I had to constantly be referring back to the facts.
Okay.
There we go.
So we're at John D. Long Lake. This is the place where Susan Smith killed her 2 young sons. Michael, which was 3 years old, and Xander, only 14 months old. She drove the children off the ramp and into this lake, and she blamed it on an African-American man carjacking her. She received a wealth of support and sympathy from across the nation and across the world, and only 9 days later, she admitted to what she had done here at John D. Long Lake. 1, 2, 3, 4, so I cut it off.
Don't worry, Mom. Just keep rolling. I cut it all up. Now you guys know why I prefer. Now you guys know why I prefer. Sorry, why I prefer what? I can't work with this freaking mouse. This mouse is driving me absolutely apeshit. Sorry, guys. I get frustrated when things don't work. I got no mouse to work with right now. My mouse is jerking all over the place. I'm just trying to get this screen to shut off so I don't have them over my head. There we go. So as you guys saw, that's the lake that Susan Smith drove her children into. I forgot I had this stuff. I really did. I don't know where my other mouse is. Today is not my day, folks, so I do apologize. It's going to be we're going to try to get through today as lovely as possible, but I don't have much faith in today. Today has just been very, very rough for me. So, at the end of the day, Susan Smith did terrible things to her children. She came to the cameras and she showed all this emotion. One of the things that she wasn't showing is tears. She was much like Katie Proudfoot is in that respect. And I think that's why so many people are having problems or stating that the red flags are the red flags. But either way, the behavioral panels, you heard the background of Susan Smith for those that didn't have it. Now, granted, it's not a detailed explanation of what the heck has been going on in the system for a while. But at the end of the day, you got an idea of where the location is. That's in Union County, South Carolina, where she drove her boys into the lake, and they were alive when they drove them in. And I guarantee you've got kids screaming and hollering, and they were strapped in and could not get themselves out. She strapped them in and made sure that they would not be able to get out. Horrible mother. Horrible mother. So again, you can see the stark contrast between Katie Proudfoot and, of course, Susan Smith with the respect of their behavior, okay? And I think that that's really what's making people look at them, is their behavior. So I also want to play for you guys something I saw, which kind of gave me the inspiration of this show as soon as it gets up. It's going to take a few moments. Everything runs a little bit laggy on OBS, I notice. Hopefully it doesn't show up like that on your end. But it could. Okay, where is my history? And 5D put something out, and I thought what 5D put out was so damn impactful. And so we're pulling it up now. This is credit. This is credit to 5D. Go ahead and put this back up here. I realized what was holding everything up. It's the, apparently it's the, okay, my battery's dead on that thing. Here it is. This is credit to 5D.
Say it to my babies. That your mama loves you so much.
How are you coping?
Real appropriate. Duper's delight.
Feel in my heart that you're okay. We will do anything.
How badly do you both want Sebastian to just walk through that front door to get that call?
I'd give anything. In a heartbeat, I would give anything.
We will, to help you, to get him home. Please. I mean, please bring him home.
Anywhere that he could be.
A picture of the suspect is already up in storefront windows.
Did you believe her?
Yeah. Everybody believed her.
I did.
Well,
My body got
something wasn't right from the beginning.
I did not have anything to do with the abduction of my children.
Because I'm not this criminal, I'm not this monster that everybody wants to believe.
The Susan Smith case. A mother, 2 young boys, a bold kidnapping, and tearless pleas for help broadcast across the nation. But as the days passed, the pieces were not fitting together. What was happening behind the scenes while the world was searching? What wild backstory and tangled motives set this tragedy in motion? And what have the past 30 years made impossible to ignore? Hold on tight while we unravel this case and the beyond cold-hearted woman behind it. On October 25, 1994, Susan Smith stood in front of cameras pleading for the safe return of her 2 young sons.
I can't express how much they are wanted back home, how much we love them, we miss them.
That we love you so much, and we want you to come home, and you're not in trouble.
I guarantee you he is loved. And trust me, the open arms are waiting for him to come home. From every parent to every family members to probably everyone in the community. But there's no malice, that we just want our boy home. Badly.
So I think that statement, when he looks over at her, like, we just want our boy home badly, you know, and he looks over at her, that to me, after analyzing, then that right there, if I would have looked at this a little bit closer at the beginning, that would have been the point where I would have, at that time, assessed that Sebastian was deceased, and most likely his mother did it, because who did he look at when he said we want him back badly? Who did he look at? Let's watch this just one more time. I want you to listen to what he's saying here and look who he's looking at how he's saying it.
I guarantee you he is loved. And trust me, the open arms are waiting for him to come home. From every parent to every family members to probably everyone in the community. But there's no malice, that we just want our boy home. Badly. But
and he shakes his head no, like
he's listening.
Like we know he's not coming back. I mean, it's that. I mean, that moment right there. That really does say a lot, folks. I know you guys don't look at things like that, but you should. These are telltale signs. Remember, these people are not professional actors. This stuff is going to be seeping out of them because they don't know what to do and they don't know how to act. And we do. We know, because we've seen so many parents that have lost their children either to an accident. You know, just because a child's gone doesn't mean that the parents hurt them. It doesn't matter. I know we went over that, Mike. You know that that word has always that word has always stuck out to me. Always, always. You know, when we went back and analyzed this, he says no malice. You know, that's his statements. He gave Katie an ultimatum, and he wouldn't come home until she made a decision. Well, she made a decision, and he came home, and he had to clean up the mess. And somebody in the chat the other day says that, you know, they believe that Chris may have stayed because he feels partly responsible because he gave her the ultimatum. And you know what? That might be true. But it sounds to me like their marriage was over, and Katie was doing anything she could to keep her husband there. She doesn't want to be alone. She doesn't want to feel unloved. She's got abandonment issues. She got childhood trauma issues. She's got a whole host of issues she can't handle, okay, as a woman, because she's messed up regardless whether people want to acknowledge it or not. But we all know what these predators do to children, even when they're your own family. Katie went through something no child should ever have to go through. And why? Because it warps that child. We see the result of children that go there. Usually they turn to alcohol and drugs. This woman here, I still believe she's a drinker. I trust that the people that have told me that there was, you know, gummies and other type of contraband around her house. You know, obviously they're not opposed to doing illicit substances. Or illegal. I'm pretty sure marijuana and gummies and stuff are still illegal in the state of Tennessee, but I could be wrong. They may have changed some laws. Why would you wait 8 days to do it? And that's another thing, Kelly. That's always been brought up. Like, why wait so long? Usually parents are immediately out there trying to strum up attention for their missing child. They were doing everything they can to put it, to keep it away. They didn't want the big case. They didn't want the national attention. They didn't want any of this. Remember, they were trying they strategized this so perfectly, so this would have just been a missing. Chris has run away before. They never brought out all the helicopters and everything. They were in their mind. In their mind, I truly believe they were going to report him as a 15-year-old runaway, and they were just going to get a little paperwork. And I truly believe that's what they thought they were going to do. They had no earthly idea that it was going to turn into this. And I think it turned into this because nobody believed them. Nobody believed them, or maybe even the community did believe them, and they wanted to pull out all the stops because it was a well-known family in the community. And so they were giving them preferential treatment that they would not have given to somebody else. And it just turned out really bad for them because they really were just trying to cover up a crime instead of actually having a missing child. So that's kind of where I am with all of this. But let's keep getting back because, again, 5D did an excellent job. And I can tell you, going and finding these clips is very time consuming. Taking these clips, putting these clips together, merging these clips is time consuming. Going and finding the background music you're hearing, putting these transition noises in, that takes a lot of time. 5D took time on this video. So if you guys have not gone over to 5D's channel and given her a thumb up or watched it on your own to help her with her views, please consider doing that because, again, this is a lot of work. And not only is it a lot of work, it's a lot of good work. And what do we do as a true crime community? We go over and support the people that are getting the proper content, whether we agree with them or not. I don't see anybody not liking 5D, but just in case we do have one of those, I can't stand 5D people in my chat, you know what? At the end of the day, she put this together. She deserves a thumb up, okay? She deserves a thumb up. I just dropped the link there. Go over there. Make sure 5D gets that thumb up if you enjoyed the work. Because, again, this is a 13-minute video. I can guarantee this probably took her several hours to put together.
Right now, what would you say to him?
I would say that we love you and we miss you and we want you to come home. And just know that we all care about you so much.
You're not in trouble. That door's unlocked and waiting for you to come home. Your puppies miss you, your family.
Yeah, you're not in trouble. You're not in trouble. You're not in trouble. Now, I've never seen this is something I've said from the beginning of this case. I've never seen a boy in so much trouble that does nothing wrong. I still can't find one thing that Sebastian really does wrong. He doesn't sneak out. He doesn't go and steal if you want to talk about me, I stole my parents' car. Every time I wait until Daddy go to sleep, I'd go down there, put a pillow over the security system so he wouldn't hear me punching in the code. And I walked out the door, took his keys with me, and went joyriding at night. I was just a troubled child, okay? I was just truly a troubled child, okay? I was in a lot of trouble, okay? I got in trouble. I knew I was getting in trouble. I did what I did to get you're not in trouble. Right. But you know what the problem is? Is every time I hear about this boy, Sebastian Rogers, you know what I hear about him? I hear he's happy. I hear he stays to himself. I hear he likes to play games. I hear he likes to be in his room. I keep thinking, how in the world can a boy always be in so much trouble when I was truly a troublemaker and not near in as much trouble as this high-functioning autistic boy that doesn't do anything? How in the world does this boy get more paddlings and beatings than I did when I was freaking stealing my daddy's car? You see where I'm coming from? Yeah, I know they're constantly using past. Well, because, they know where this child is. Obviously, they keep using past tense. That should, this is not new to us. We should all take notice, right? Katie, the mom, using past tenses all the time? Come on. Really? We know what that means. Don't we know what that means? We know what she's telling us. We're hearing her say the quiet parts out loud, are we not? I was trouble. Yeah, we were all trouble. We all this boy, Sebastian. He's in more trouble than we are, and we were troublemakers. We were the trouble. We know what we did. Does this boy look like he did half the shit we did to be in this much trouble? Of course not. Of course not. But in Tennessee, you can do a lot of things in Tennessee because they don't care about kids. You can see it in every law. They still can't seem to get, death penalties for people that like to our kids 12 and younger. Apparently, if you're 4 and younger, that's only welcoming of the death penalty. I have never seen a state so anti-child, so pro-abused children and R and SA children in my life. Tennessee is a state that is okay with parents, uncles, family members, friends selling. Their laws show they do not care about any of that. Raise your hand if you believe that. Because even the new law, which I'm saying they're finally listening, they're moving the needle forward, but it's never enough. Never enough. R of a 4-year-old or younger. So that means 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11-year-old children. Oh, they can get R. They can get SA'd. According to Tennessee, they can go spend 40 years in jail for that. It's not like cakewalk, but who does, right? Because we can see that Ronnie Lawson's son was able to walk after diddling with 2 children. So clearly, and those children were very young too. Is it okay for you to touch them, tickle them in their special spot? I'm asking Tennessee. Is it okay to do that? What is not okay? Oh, is it just the actual, driving in? What do you consider 40 or 50 years in prison? Because obviously diddling with children ain't getting those types of charges. Apparently, Tennessee does not believe that children being touched by adults is wrong. They haven't gotten a clue yet. But let's go support. Now, if people want to know why I refuse to support Bill Lee or Marsha Blackburn or any person in the state of Tennessee with these types of laws. No. Tennessee has too many children being born in there thinking that they are safe. And laws are actually supporting the monsters and not the victims in the state of Tennessee. These are real problems. Real problems. Are they it's like, you expect them to take a huge leap. They know that there's a major problem here, but they keep playing patty cake. It's like, oh, well, no, let's just increase it a little bit. We'll come back here in another 5 years after 15 or 30 or 100 more children, our lives are ruined. Then we'll come back here and strengthen it a little bit more, But it's not hundreds of kids. It's thousands of kids in Tennessee. And Tennessee politicians know this. So which one of the politicians, which ones of the House members, which ones of the Senate members are disgusting, vile pricks? Because I'd like to have a conversation with them. I would like to understand why a child doesn't have the ability to thrive in the state of Tennessee, why they turn all their little female girls into S-toys. Oh, well, we don't do that. Well, then why don't you have laws supporting let children be children? Well, we do. No, you don't. Children are 12 years old and younger. Adolescents are 13 and older, in my opinion. Teenage years. Well, maybe teenagers. Adolescents, maybe 12. But it doesn't matter. You think a child 12 years old should be forced to do something, or should be coerced into doing something, or talked into it? So if they just groom well, then if their grooming regimens are good, then that's all they need. So we support that, right? I think we're going to have to start saying hygiene for grooming. Okay? That's going to be our code word for grooming, right? Hygiene. So, as long as their hygiene is well, and they talk the person into it, it's okay. It's kosher under Tennessee law. It's kosher under Tennessee law. I guarantee that they have unreported child tea and adult tea going on in their state. Like what? I guarantee it. You know why? Because their laws support it. That's why. You don't want that junk in your state. You have very tough, strict laws to prevent that junk being in your state. But no, let's play patty cake with the frickin' people that want our children. Sick. Sick. Just sick.
Family misses you. I miss you. Just come home.
Anything else that you two want to add or clear up or anything like that?
Okay, just help us find our son.
Next to her, David Smith, the boy's father, remained supportive. He looked shaken, but composed.
I would like to take the time to plead to the American public that you please do not give up on these two little boys in the search for their return safe home to us.
This is the one thing Chris Proudfoot didn't do, right? He never really wanted Sebastian to ever come home. This man standing next to her is an innocent man. He had no idea what his wife did because he had no idea she was having an affair on him. He had no idea she was unhappy in their marriage. He had no idea. He was working and supporting his wife and his family. He was doing the right thing. He was being the dad, making sure the wife could stay home. What was the wife doing? Oh, sneaking behind his back and bopping any Tom, Dick, and Harry. And she found a Tom, Dick, or Harry that she decided she liked, but he didn't like her kids. So she sacrificed her children, for this man that she was going to leave her husband for. Chris and Katie were having marital problems, and now a child's missing from their home too. But the child's missing from their home because it's basically like Susan Smith being with the other guy, right? The guy that doesn't want the kids. That's Katie and Chris. Chris never has wanted children, right? He thought Nina set him up. He wanted Faith gone. He wanted her to be no longer. Remember? So Chris is the guy that Susan Smith basically was leaving her husband for. And then you got Katie. And all of a sudden he puts you gotta get rid of him. Like the Hutchinson case, that guy said, yeah, I don't know what you gotta do, but you ain't living here. I'm gonna put you out if you don't get rid of the kids. And so what does she do? She drives around to the park and drops them off at the bathroom and goes to speed off out of there. And next thing you know, her son is laying on the ground. He held on to the door handle. He just wanted his mommy. All these momsters. Katie Proudfoot is now part of that disgusting Hall of Fame.
You continue to look for this car, these two, our children, and for the suspect himself.
Oh, thank you.
You continue to keep your eyes open, and anything that you see.
Everything was going so fast this morning, I didn't even put up my goals.
And let it be known. We ask that you continue to pray for me and my wife and for our family. But most of all, that you continue to pray the American public, continue to pray for Michael and Alex, that they are returned home safely.
He's scared. He's worried about his kids. He wants everybody to pray that his kids, look at her face. She knows what she has done, and all he wants is his boys home. Much like Seth Rogers just wants his boy home. Except he's got Chris Proudfoot mocking his pain. Every time he turns around, mocking his pain. What a piece of shit. What a piece of shit. It takes a real piece of shit to mock another father's pain, especially a pain that was caused by that person or his wife. Shame on both of them. I hope they both rot in hell. We know Susan Smith is rotting in hell. She deserves to rot in hell.
To their mother and father and the family members who love them so much, that you pray most of all for them, and that they are being taken care of, and that they are safe, and that they will return home safely.
Susan told police she had been stopped at a red light at an intersection in Union, South Carolina, when a black man with a gun forced his way into her red Mazda. She claimed the man ordered her to drive for some time before making her stop on a rural road. Then, she said, he forced her out of the vehicle and drove off, taking her two sons, 3-year-old Michael and 14-month-old Alex, still strapped in their car seats with him.
I was stopped at a red light, and just out of nowhere, this black guy came up and just opened the door and jumped in the car. And he had a gun, and he had it pointed in my side and told me to drive. And so I did. And when I tried to ask him why he was doing this or whatever, he just told me to shut up or he'd kill me.
If you guys want to know where she's from, it's South Carolina, okay? And this was back in the 90s, okay? So I don't know if you guys remember the 90s, but the 90s were not a pretty time of the United States of America, okay? We had a crack epidemic during this time. We had, some of the most mass arrests of black men in our history happened after the Clintons did this, cocaine crackdown type of thing, all the laws that went in place, and they started throwing all these people. So I think this, being South Carolina, I mean, we were there for Alec Murdaugh. I'm sorry. I went to the place where Paul and them, the night Mallory Beach died, and I went into that restaurant. You know why they didn't like the judge? Which we loved the judge because he was black. So they have racist problems in South Carolina. I had took my food to go. When I realized who I was sitting around and the way that they were talking, it turned my stomach. And that was at the restaurant Paul and them went. And I will call it out. I made sure I waited until I left there. They had a beautiful view out there. I walked on the docks where they loaded the boat up. But, and they didn't say the N-word, right? They weren't public with the N-word, but they sure had a lot to say about the black people, okay? I can smell racism when I see it, okay? I didn't need them to say the N-word. I knew what they were saying. Okay. And so I just took my wings to go and I took them back to my hotel room. I don't know if I told that story once before. I know I didn't tell it while I was in the county. I specifically said, there was something, I made it clear that there were some things not right. But you guys can go back to that. If you guys watch me take my wings back to my room, I ate them at the room and I remember saying something kind of similar to that, I mean, I understand it doesn't really matter. I mean, you don't like somebody you don't like, but it should never have to do with color. It should do with character. I get pissed off at people all the time. I say a lot of different things. I offend people often, but it's because of something they've done to me. It has nothing to do with who they, what religion they are or what color their skin is. I'm an asshole to everybody that's an asshole to me. Okay? It's just that simple. Okay? There's no secret ingredient. There's no secret ingredient. I don't care you black, white, brown, green with pink polka dots. You an asshole to me? Bet your ass I'm gonna be an asshole to you. Okay? Trust me. I'm equal opportunity asshole. Okay? Believe that. You can bet your ass on that. Equal opportunity, baby. Equal opportunity. You step in this shit, you gonna get the shit. I don't care where you come from. And trust me, I'm like an addiction. I don't really care about your sex, your age, your religion, or your net worth. You piss me off, I'm going to piss you off. I'm just saying. That's just the Bullhorn Betty way. Maybe we need a new shirt. maybe Sonya needs one. We all bleed red. Exactly. Equal opportunity offender. You step on my toes, I step back. Just saying. Just saying, not playing. No, I'm just joking. Game over, Mama says. Game over. All right, let's get back to this. Let's get off the satire.
So I just kept driving. My babies were in the back seat and they were crying. And I tried to tell him everything was going to be okay. He told me to get out. And I said, well, can I get my children? And he said, no. He said, I don't have time for that. And they were just crying.
Who has the time to have that conversation? Do you think you're going to ask come on. Guys, I know somebody has been robbed in this house or had their car taken before, carjacked. I don't see myself sitting and having a conversation with the guy with the gun. Okay? I'm getting my kids or you can just go ahead and kill me here. Okay? Can I get my kids? I know. Yeah.
Come on now, that ain't even bullshit. That's horse shit.
We're gonna start negotiating with the person with the gun. Can I get my kids? No, I don't have time. Well, why don't you have time for it? Really, you have time to ask that? You have time to be reaching back there unbuckling kids. Get your asses out. Run, right? Because mamas don't mind taking a bullet. I mean, we're not bulletproof. We do mind actually getting a bullet. But if it comes down to us or our children, we'll take that bullet. We want our kids freed, right? That's just a mom. You don't even have to be biologically related to have that nurturing about you. Because I tell you what, you come stepping, I would lose my life for my grandchildren, right? I'd lose my life for my grandchildren. Same story as Diane Downs. Oh, wow, interesting. I don't believe a word she's, she's unbelievable. She's in jail. She's been in jail all this time. The reason why I went out there and did that footage is because she was up for parole. I think she was up for parole this year, 2025, right? Like she should be coming up for parole. I think she was denied. Hey, Army vet, it's nice to see you, love. I hope you're doing well. Good morning. So let's keep going. Then we'll get back to our...
Panicked and disoriented, Susan ran toward a nearby home, frantically pounding on the door for help. A resident answered and quickly called 911.
Yeah, there's a lady that come up that door, and some guy jumped into a red light with her car with her 2 kids in it, and he took off, and she got out of the car here at our house.
Then he's got the kids?
Yes, ma'am, in her car. And she's real hysterical, and I just decided I need to call the law and get them down here.
Get them going, Pam. They got 2 kids.
Police arrived within minutes and immediately launched a search. For the next 9 days, the entire nation was gripped by the heartbreaking ordeal of a young mother pleading for her children's safe return.
I will tell you, more people than not believed this woman. Okay? Again, it was a different time. And there was a lot of people that believed this woman. But the one thing that was very, very obvious was her antics and the fact that she had no tears. She was acting like the husband was just very somber. His in my opinion, his face, his demeanor never really changed. He was just kind of disbelief. In my opinion, at first, I think he was kind of in disbelief. He just didn't know what was going on, but wanted his boys back. But he seemed like he had a very the same expression on his face every time, and I honestly think that expression was grief. I mean, just not just bewilderment, just kind of like shock. I don't know how to describe. Yeah, that's it. Shock. Like he just. It seemed to hit him, but I don't know how to explain it.
2 young children being abducted by a stranger had people on high alert. Roadblocks were set up and Amber Alerts were issued, while flyers of Michael and Alex's faces were posted in stores and gas stations. Investigators reviewed security footage, checked traffic cameras, and questioned witnesses. But no one had seen any carjacking that night. Authorities expanded their search across Union County and beyond. Countless officers, volunteers, and search dogs combed through rural roads and wooded areas. Lakes and rivers were checked, but nothing turned up. Helicopters scoured highways for any trace of the Mazda protege. Investigators also searched crime reports of similar incidents, but no cases matched Susan's story. The case quickly gained national attention. News networks broadcast Susan's pleas, and families across the country followed every update. If you had a TV on during that time, it was nearly impossible to avoid the coverage. Susan's face became a national image of a grieving mother, appearing on every major news station. News crews flooded Union, capturing every development. Local residents helped organize community searches, and businesses donated food and supplies for search crews. Residents even left their porch lights on in solidarity, hoping the boys would be brought home safely. The FBI joined the investigation, and tips poured in as Susan's public pleas continued. But behind the scenes, investigators were starting to have doubts. Over the next few days, they kept pushing her, digging deeper with every conversation. They noticed that Susan's demeanor fluctuated. At press conferences, she appeared distraught and emotional. But other times, she seemed calm and detached, especially in private conversations with officers. One detective noted how Susan seemed almost giddy about one of her sit-down television interviews. Before it began, she turned to David, wide-eyed and incredulous, as if excited about being on TV. Then, as soon as the cameras started rolling, she shifted into her grieving mother persona. She was reveling in the spotlight. Meanwhile, 24-year-old David sat beside her, shell-shocked, his expression never changing. Officers also noted that Susan wasn't asking any questions about the search for her sons. Parents of missing children usually wanted constant updates. What was being done? Had police checked new areas? Did they have any leads? But Susan was uncharacteristically passive, waiting for detectives to approach her rather than demanding answers. And when she was alone, her behavior was even stranger. She was seen laughing and chatting casually when she thought no one was watching. Investigators noted her mood shifts, how she could go from sobbing in front of cameras to being composed in private. And speaking of sobbing, that term is being generous, because officers weren't the only ones who noticed that her tearful pleas never seemed to produce any actual tears.
I don't know why. I don't know why he walked out that door.
And then there were the details of her story that didn't quite add up. She claimed the carjacker forced her to drive around for nearly an hour before making her pull over. But when police retraced her route, they found no witnesses, no security footage, and no evidence to support her timeline. And then there was the red light. Susan initially told police she had been stopped at a red light on Monarch Mills Road when the man approached her car. But late at night, the traffic lights were timed, so a red light would only be triggered by cross traffic and would not stay red for as long as she reported. And no one reported seeing a stranded woman or a struggle at the intersection. There was also a lack of physical evidence. There were no tire marks where Susan claimed she had been forced out of the vehicle, and the assailant sped off. No one had seen Susan.
I'm going to have to stop it right here because I want you guys to remember that none of the evidence outside of, them coming home, none of the evidence supports this child walking out. It's talking about referring to Sebastian, right? They're talking about how none of the evidence lined up. Let's go back to that prong. Hold on a second. Let's go back to that prong. So we've got the prong, right? Of her story didn't quite add up. Well, Katie's story does not quite add up. And there is a lack of physical evidence in this, in Sebastian's case as well, right? Because there is no evidence that he walked out of the home. There's no evidence of anything. There's no evidence that he was in the neighborhood other than going to the trash can. And people are questioning the trash being taken out because they said the person that took it out was in a hoodie. And the only person observed in a hoodie all night that night was Katie Proudfoot. Now, I can't say anything, okay, because I have not seen the footage of the garbage cans or how the figure went out to the garbage cans. None of us have. So for anybody to be speaking or implying as a statement of fact that a person was in a hoodie, well, let's be honest. That can only be a rumor, no? Because not one person that we know on these platforms or even a parent, Chris didn't see, or Seth didn't see this image. From what I understand, Katie didn't see this image. Maybe it's possible that Chris saw the image during his canvassing before law enforcement. But at the end of the day, that's it. I don't know if you could really tell, at that time what that was until it was enhanced or modified. But the point I'm trying to make is anybody speaking from a statement of fact saying that somebody was out there in a hoodie and took the garbage, unless we heard the hoodie term from law enforcement or somebody that actually watched the video, then unfortunately there is nothing. Hold up. If they say Sebastian was wearing a hoodie, then he changed it into a hoodie to throw the trash. That's what people are saying, is that that whoever took the trash out was in a hoodie. And I've been trying to figure out who has the video? Who has the trash video? Who has that? Nobody. So anybody speaking, saying that, somebody took the trash out in a hoodie, that couldn't possibly be true, factually true, right? With the information we know, nobody has seen this video. What hoodie? Listen, I have no earthly idea. I'm just talking about what I've heard. I didn't ask these people. They're in chats. They're on social media. But there's people that have been saying that that's whoever took the trash out was in a hoodie, and everybody has just adopted that. But yet nobody has seen this video. So I'm not willing to adopt anybody took the trash out in a hoodie because I haven't even seen the trash video, and neither has anybody else on this platform. So let's not get it twisted. It's an assessment. It's an opinion that there may have been somebody that took that trash out in a hoodie. But until we see somebody in a hoodie, I'm not listening to it, because the only person that has made any reference to the trash being taken out and identifying that it was, in fact, Sebastian was Sonny. And he's a reputable source. He's the sheriff at the time. So we can, argue all day long. The man's dead. We can't really argue too much. The bottom line is that's what we have for factual information related to the garbage can. So anything other than that is all I'm simply saying is that it is fact. I mean, it is rumor. Give me a second. I don't know what's going on here. There we go. What about Katie's ashram? Was it only Sebastian's voice? I don't know. I do know that you were talking about dash cam. Okay. I do know that they used, they said, I knew that early on they said that they heard Sebastian's voice when they pulled into the garage. So there was obviously some type of recording, whether it was one of those camera recordings we don't know about or from the car. I don't know. I would say it doesn't matter. It does matter, but in this scenario, it doesn't matter because we don't know which it is. But from my understanding, there was verbal audio confirmation Sebastian made it home. Not just, him taking the garbage. Like, there's more than just them believing that he was home because of the garbage. He was home because of the garbage. And there was an audio of him arriving at home, but people were fantasizing or, theorizing that it was planted audio. I get it, but we have to apply Occam's razor here. We have to, in order to make all these things fit for all these other scenarios, we have to imply or assume a lot to make any other thing fit. So I have to, according to Occam's razor, I believe he made it home. Because in order for me to believe he didn't make it home would mean I'd have to assume a lot of different stuff instead of just the facts. The facts presented as they are imply he made it home. But I digress. Her story, Katie's story, didn't add up. There's a lack of physical evidence. We knew that the lack of physical evidence early on. I even said the lack of evidence really is the most damaging of the evidence, in my opinion, because it implies cleanup.
There were no tire marks where Susan claimed she had been forced out of the vehicle and the assailant sped off. No one had seen Susan's Mazda. No sightings. Nothing. By the third day of searching, investigators stopped focusing on finding the carjacker and started focusing on Susan. At first, investigators kept their suspicions quiet, still treating the case publicly as an active search. But behind the scenes, they were now gathering evidence against Susan. They started by re-interviewing her, asking her to go over her story again.
Behind the scenes, they were running. Remember, law enforcement in Sebastian's case is wanting us to believe that this is just a child that wandered off, nothing to see over here. But I don't believe I don't think any good detective believes that. I think they have been investigating. I think their prime suspect is Katie Proudfoot. I think she knows at this point she is their prime suspect. I don't think she's coming to the table and telling us that, but I think she knows that. And I think that at this point, if they've interviewed her more than one time or interrogated her more than one time, they have implied that to her, that they believe she did something to her son. If that has not happened, then I don't believe law enforcement is doing their job. But I do believe that has already happened, in all fairness.
Slowly and in detail.
We do not.
Each time she retold it, the timeline shifted slightly.
I know it's been multiple.
She could not remember exactly how long the carjacker had forced her to drive. She wasn't sure which direction she had been facing at the red light. She says she struggled when the man pushed her out of the car, yet there were no injuries or signs of a struggle on her or at the scene where she claimed the incident occurred. The more she talked, the more her story unraveled. So they had her undergo a polygraph test. 2 of them. She failed both of them.
Have the 2 of you taken a polygraph?
I have.
I have not.
Would you be willing to?
I've offered and volunteered on many occasions to take a polygraph, and I was told directly by law enforcement because of my whereabouts, I did not need one.
I understand. Ms. Proudfoot, did you pass your polygraph?
I did.
And while not admissible in court, they revealed to police that Susan had something to hide. As the days passed, those polygraph failures, along with the inconsistencies in her statements, would get leaked to the public.
It's got me all puzzled now, because she failed it 2 times, and there's something wrong somewhere or another.
Fully convinced that Susan was being truthful about the encounter, David tried his best to appease her, telling her she was just failing the polygraphs because she was distraught from all that she had been through. He coached her on how to relax during the tests, but he also noticed how she was more worried about whether people thought she was lying than she was about their boys. But law enforcement saw things differently. With each passing day, detectives grew even more certain that Susan was lying. So they called her in for another interrogation. It had been 9 days since their boys had gone missing. And before her interview with police, she and David sat down that morning for what would end up being their final TV interview.
I think it takes a very sick and emotionally unstable person to be able to take 2 beautiful children like that, to be able to keep them from their parents.
Then it was time for her police interview. Sheriff Howard Wells, who also happened to be Susan's godfather, directly confronted Susan about her story, telling her that he knew she was lying about the carjacking. He pointed out that she could not have been stopped at the red light on Monarch Mills Road if there were no other cars around. He reminded her that she had already revised her statement to account for that inconsistency, but even her backup story didn't hold up.
Wow. So there you guys have it. That was the Susan Smith. I thought that was well put together by 5D about the inconsistencies, similarities, back and forth. Now, there are some, in all fairness, there are some things that don't bode with the Susan Smith case, right? It wasn't like there are some dissimilarities as well as similarities, right? But we are going off the emotional congruence, the narrative rigidity. I can't pronounce the word I put in here. I don't know why. Rigidity. I think I misspelled it. Deflection patterns, focus on self rather than the victim. That was a big part of this, is that both Susan Smith was more concerned about people thinking they did it, much like Christopher and Katie. We're not monsters. We're not monsters when they're the monsters, right? They don't want to acknowledge that they're the ones that are the monsters. They don't want to acknowledge what they have done. And I understand why. Nobody wants to acknowledge. And then of course, you're applying Occam's razor, which we talked about, the stranger abduction versus last known caretakers, right? The complexity versus proximity, statistical probability in a child disappearance, right? And in both of these cases, they say that the mom statistically would have most likely been the one that did harm to them or disappeared them for whatever reason. Contrast and safeguards, the difference in crime types. One drove their children into a pond and had this elaborate ruse of being carjacked, while one simply said they put their child to bed and went to sleep themselves, and the next morning they woke up and nothing appeared to be touched, but the child appeared to be have evaporated or levitated outside of the house. There's some, stark differences as well. Public vigilance, public pressure for accountability, keeping Sebastian's name visible. Those are all the things that we have something to do with. Give me just a second. We got to go down to a different part. So in 1994, Susan Smith stood before cameras in South Carolina begging for the return of her son. She appeared calm, composed. In the very first interview, Katie appeared to be calm and composed, rocking back and forth, though, trying to have the appearance of concern, but never quite making it so. But composed. They all appeared composed, at times even smiling. We saw that at the very beginning of the interview with Katie and Chris's green shirt interview. Well, we saw that also with Susan Smith before she would, turn on the waterworks, so to speak, much like Katie did in the green shirt interview. She described an external villain or carjacker who never existed, just like Chris and Katie brought up a child walking away and potential abductor on the Nancy Grace show. But again, these situations never existed because Sebastian is high-functioning autistic with no history of elopement. Therefore, he's not going to spontaneously wake up in the middle of the night and decide to run away from home. It's not in his makeup. It defies logic of the type of autistic child he is. But Susan Smith was lying, and I also believe Katie Proudfoot is lying. Today, we're not saying history is repeating itself. What we're saying is certain behavioral markers recur in cases that later unravel, much like Chris and Katie's case. And those markers deserve scrutiny. In the disappearance of Sebastian Rogers, the public has observed a highly controlled media presence, emotional responses that many viewers perceived as incongruent, narratives that feel managed rather than spontaneous, a notable absence of escalating desperation over time. This is by far the most notable, in my opinion, for all of us, is the absence of escalation or escalating desperation. We've never seen her desperate. We've never seen her have urgency. We've never seen her crumble. We've never seen her get nervous. It's just joking around, having a good time, and looking toward a brighter tomorrow. That's all we've gotten from these people named Chris and Katie Proudfoot. Hashtag Chris and Katie Proudfoot. Behavioral science teaches us that when somebody is masking, managing perception becomes more important than expressing authentic emotion. That is not unique to criminals, but it is common among them. And that is why the Susan Smith comparison keeps resurfacing related to Katie Proudfoot. So allegations versus convictions, right? And why behavioral analysis matters, why Susan Smith is relevant historically. Those all do matter. But let's be truthful here. While there are contrast or stark differences between Susan Smith and Katie Proudfoot. Susan Smith had younger children. She strapped them into a car, drove them into a lake, and then acted like somebody abducted the children and carjacked her. Katie Proudfoot, on the other hand, had a high-functioning autistic boy. She was and Susan Smith, again, we know about the relationship with the guy she was having the affair with, not liking the children. Well, Katie's in a similar situation where Chris can't stand Sebastian. Chris wants Sebastian gone. He has no love for this child. He just wants him out of their hair. He truly believes if Sebastian is gone, then their life will be perfect, right? Which we know is untrue because, again, Chris has a zipper problem, and that zipper problem has plagued every single one of his relationships, including Katie. We know Chris is not a faithful man. Chris Proudfoot, I don't think, will ever be a faithful man until his penis does not work anymore. So, and even then, I don't believe he would be a faithful man. So, at the end of the day, she's dealing with that. He's been married several times. And we've got Susan Smith that's unhappy in her relationship. 2 dead boys there and a missing boy with Katie Proudfoot. How could they possibly be similar? It's not. And their cases aren't similar. Their behavior is. Their behavior is similar. So I want to make sure that we're very, very clear on that. We're not saying these stories are very similar. We're saying that it appears that both moms are responsible and look at their behavior, right? Just like Courtney Bartholomew and Brad. And that case right there twisted. That case right there is all kinds of twisted. We'll talk about that later tonight in passing. We're not going to do a whole show on her, but that case has gotten all kinds more bizarre. Apparently her fiance is apparently bopping her biological mom and her sister. And her. And that is just one big fat immoral family. They need Jesus. Okay? I don't know how to say that. Whatever their mama's name was, I'm not going to keep throwing out there. I'm glad they were loved. But, just, I don't know how you could trust family. How in the world anybody could trust family after something like that. Like I don't know what I would do. I never had to worry about stuff like that. Most children out there don't have to worry about their mamas and their sisters, right? And this family, you do. They have no moral compass. They are lacking guidance. They are lacking the way. They are a lost family. And if the family doesn't take ownership of that, it's going to be more and more generations lost. More and more generations lost. Like, this is putrid, okay? I'm sorry, that whole damn family should be ashamed. I would be ashamed to even walk down the blessed road. The whole family should be publicly shamed. I'm sorry. Sometimes shame is the only way to correct action. Some people say they need love. Well, this family seems like they have too much of it. Maybe they need to back up off of it. I'm just saying. They need to find something else to love, like Jesus. So, very immoral. We're going to get into it. It's just, it goes from worse to worse to worse. Every time I think we're going to be able to come up on the Rebecca Park case with something that just seems normal, that we can attribute to normal, not so much. It just keeps getting worse. The whole story just keeps getting worse, folks. It just keeps getting worse. I don't know what else to tell you. So let's talk about the stranger abduction theory. It requires an opportunistic predator, right? So if he left the house, because they're trying to say he still left the house, right? It requires an opportunistic predator, perfect timing, no witnesses, no evidence trail, and no recovery. It again defies logic. Household-centric theory, known access, opportunity, familiarity, and statistically consistent patterns. Applying Occam's razor doesn't assign guilt, it prioritizes investigative focus. So basically, our focus is where? Katie Proudfoot. The similarities, the psychological profile similarities. This is shared traits observed publicly from both. Let me get over here because I'm not paying attention to the, sorry guys, I'm not really paying attention to the chat just now. But we have the similarity psychological traits are emotional suppression. I think we saw emotional suppression in both Susan Smith as well as Katie Proudfoot. Image management. They're concerned more about their image than anything else. They lack empathy. Narcissistic coping traits. I would say these are narcissistic coping traits. Detachment during recounting of trauma. They have no emotion. Stress response pattern, controlled rather than collapsed. So they're controlling their behavior. It's not authentic in my opinion. Rationalization instead of grief. Neither one of these mothers really truly showed grief at any time during this. And they have an external blame, a plan B in both of them. The plan B for Chris and Katie is that he walked out of the home, nothing to see over here. The blame in Susan Smith was a black man that carjacked her. Comfort on camera, defensive framing, and self-focused narrative position. And that's where we are with Chris and Katie, without a doubt. Now, it's going to be hard. We're going to go back maybe to some Susan Smith. I forgot I had a whole folder. We didn't do a whole lot on Susan Smith either. I do believe I did drop a few videos, but for the most part, we didn't do a whole lot on Susan Smith. So I'll have to go back and do that. So stark contrast between the cases. So again, we brought this up earlier that Susan Smith is actually convicted of the homicide of her two boys, where Katie Proudfoot has no conviction, no formal charges. The outcome, Susan's children were recovered and Sebastian remains missing, and I believe that's thanks to Christopher Proudfoot. Susan Smith left forensic and circumstantial evidence. Sebastian case lacks public forensic disclosure. So what that basically means in a nutshell is we have no evidence from law enforcement about the forensics because they have not publicly stated one way or another. Of course, Susan Smith was before media or digital saturation and modern surveillance and data tools. So those are the things, the dissimilarities, which isn't much. I mean, because we were really focusing. I mean, the cases themselves are different, but we never were focusing on the details of the case being the similar. We're focusing on the behaviors of Chris and Susan, just like I was focusing on the behaviors of Courtney Bartholomew and Katie Proudfoot, because when you start observing the behaviors of people that have been that are arrested or already convicted, then you start seeing why their behavior is so troubling to people like me, because it's like a red flag. It's a known red flag. When you see these coming from parents of missing children, you know almost without a doubt, this is signaling. These are red flag signals. These are where we need to stop and start paying attention to these parents, right? Because we've seen this before and it wasn't a good outcome. And so that's why a lot of us that are in true crime and have been in true crime and have broke down these cases, over the years, we've come to, now granted, Not every time. There's going to be some outliers where we think Charlotte Senna, again, a prime example of an outlier. All our statistics told us that 9-year-old girl would be deceased. All of our statistics told us we were going to find a deceased little girl. Okay? That was an outlier. She was alive days later. She was recovered. She's going to have some deep scars that are going to follow her the rest of her life, but she has an opportunity to recover. Okay? Not that she will, but she has an opportunity to recover. A lot of the children that are abducted by stranger dangers don't get that opportunity. They're used for whatever disgusting purpose they're there for, and they're immediately discarded. Okay? So she has the opportunity for full recovery. Not that she's going to get it, but she has that opportunity that many other children did not get. So we have to remember the outliers. Not everything is going to be perfect, but again, it's still similarities. And so Susan Smith reminds us that early public sympathy can later give away devastating truth. That memory is why people pay attention when emotional behaviors do not align with circumstances. And we have noticed in Chris and Katie's behavior that their behavior does not align with the circumstances that they're dealing with their child. Sebastian Rogers deserves more than silence. His mom and stepdad, military trained not to be silent, are being so silent. It's disgusting. He deserves scrutiny where scrutiny belongs, and compassion where compassion is warranted. So the comparison persists basically between the behavioral dissonance is recognizable. While facts differ, patterns echo. History teaches us that when caregivers control narratives rather than expressing desperation, investigators and the true crime community, well, we pay attention to that. And I think that if we were alive, born, and doing what we were doing, what we do today, back when Susan Smith case was around, I think we would have gotten to the bottom of it then as well, right? And I still do. I still think that there's a lot to be had here, and we got to go back. And this is why, it upsets me about the John Benet Ramsey case, because the John Benet Ramsey case came after Susan Smith. And I think that this case is exactly why the Boulder, Colorado police looked at John and Patsy and never looked anywhere else. And I think that that was the worst thing that they could do. But again, there's a lot of arrogance, and that's one thing that they need to start training these law enforcement, these detectives. Take your arrogance, compartmentalize it, ship it wherever it came from, shove it wherever it needs to go, but put it away. If you are going to be a detective working on any type of cases with children, victims of any type, you need to take your arrogance and put it away. Because arrogance has never done a positive thing for any case ever. I have never seen an arrogant officer outperform a person that's willing to hear and listen and work a case. Okay? And if you are that arrogant, then you're not that good. That's the way I look at it. If you're that arrogant, then you're not that good. You're not that good. It's time to bring you on down from that pedestal that you're sitting on. So I hope that they start training their law enforcement officers to start thinking outside of the box. This box that they keep putting law enforcement in has hindered many, many cases. But now that we have all of this social media, all of these things that we have put on ourselves to track us, that allows law enforcement, there should be more circumstantial cases in every single state. More circumstantial cases, not less circumstantial cases. And if your state is underperforming on circumstantial cases, you need to ask yourself, do you have the right prosecutors, the right police detectives, the right prosecutors, or the right judges in place? Because I can tell you, if you are not doing circumstantial cases in 2025, then you have the wrong law enforcement, prosecutors, and judges in your state. I can tell you that. It's time to start moving forward with more circumstantial cases. We have more data than we've ever had in the history of America. There is no good excuse for that. None. All right, guys, rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe, but more importantly, kind to one another. If you guys can do me a solid, if you guys could please heart this and share this, I would greatly appreciate it, because it's a lot of compounded information. We started off rocky this morning. Everything in my system just went to the wayside. I don't know why. I don't know what's causing it. I've got to figure out what is causing it. I'm starting to believe maybe I got too much stuff. I think I cleared off my computer, but who knows? Who knows? They just did an update on OBS, and I'm hoping that that might be the problem. And if it is, maybe I can just uninstall it, reinstall it, maybe set up more. You know, I don't know. We'll see. We'll get it figured out, but it's not getting figured out today. I just want to thank you guys. I love you guys. We will see you soon. I'm not sure if I'll be back later this afternoon. My exhaustion level is through the roof, as you guys can imagine. Aw, thank you. True Crime with Justice. Oh, yeah, let me go over here and thank all the people that have gifted. I missed a lot. I missed a whole lot. So let's go ahead. I'm glad you did that. Rose, welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insane Asylum. Then we have Mama. Thank you. Game over. We got Blessed Nana. Happy Saturday, everyone. Dress warm. Amen to that. Good gracious. I've been sitting in the cold. Who else do we have? I've been hearing some stuff. Welcome, become a new member. Somebody must have gotten, I don't know why. It must be going. Hold on, let me go over here. See if I missed somebody. Oh, I did. Oh, who's this? Mom of 9 gifted 5 Bullhorn Betty memberships. If you received your 5 Bullhorn Betty memberships, it looks like Carmela. Sorry about that. Tam, True Crime Justice, Jeannie Stevens, it's nice to see you, and Mama Shell. Welcome to this crazy family called the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insane Asylum. Grab your straight jacket in your padded room and welcome aboard. Welcome. And we got Rose, Mama. Thank you guys. Oh, that was lovely. I appreciate it, guys. I do. I appreciate it a lot. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. It's time to get moving. My day starting to move that way because I've got my BFF, and today is our play date for the dogs. So I try to get over there as early as possible, and I was up very early because I've been going to sleep very early. I feel like finally I'm back on a normal schedule, getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I love it, okay? I truly love getting up early. I feel like I accomplish so much more during the days when I get up early. Oh, little orange man, it's nice to see you. Guys, don't forget, if you get those beautiful white snow photos, send them to bullhornbetty@gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. Y'all, I love you guys so very much. I hope you guys have a great time. Melanie, I think the package that you sent me got here yesterday, and I put it under the tree. So I just wanted to let you know that I did get a package. I'm hoping it's yours. It might be the real Me Too, but I can't tell. It looked like it came from PA. But either way, it looks like I may have gotten your gift yesterday. So I stuck it up under the tree. I haven't opened it yet. And we're trying to decide on what day we're going to do our gift wrapping. So hopefully, if nothing more, I may come back live tonight on portrait mode just to find out what day you guys want to do gift wrapping. Every year we do gift wrapping. I am going to come live to you guys on Christmas Eve as well as Christmas. So the people that are having Christmas by yourself, we have Christmas together. Nobody is going to wake up on Christmas morning alone on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Okay, I'm sorry. We're just not going to do that. This is the time of giving, and sometimes we can't give anything but of ourselves. And so that's what we're going to do this year. For anybody that wakes up on Christmas Day by themselves, we're going to be running, it's going to be a small show. But we're going to be running a show to make sure that you feel the love of Christmas morning at your house and for you. So again, if you guys are here, you guys don't want to be alone in the morning, you want to come and say hi to your friends, be here. We're gonna be here on Christmas morning. Okay, it's not gonna be long. Okay, but it's going to be about an hour, maybe an hour and a half, where we just get to enjoy some time together, open up our gifts together. If we don't have gifts to open, have a cup of coffee and just a great conversation. So come on over here on Christmas Day, and we'll be here. If you haven't subbed up to the Bullhorn Betty channel, please go ahead and sub up. I will get this downloaded and start dropping some videos on our crime story side. So if you guys haven't been over there, or you don't want to watch a full 3-hour show or 2.5-hour show, we'll be taking some clips and bringing them back, and so you guys can just get some highlights of this show later on today. All right, guys, we'll see you soon. Bye. Be good. Be there. Be square.